of series are a group of spell cards who all share names that begin with Book of, have effects with something to do with manipulating monsters' positions on the board, most prominently either flipping monsters face down or flipping monsters face up. The progenitor of these cards is Book of Moon. This card released in the 2005 pack Dark Beginning 2. It had the effect to target one face-up monster on the field, change that target to face-down defense. Seems like a simple ability. However, despite being a 20-year-old card, this is still a very versatile card by modern day standards. Sure, it doesn't see as much play as it used to, but could you use it still today? Absolutely. This is mainly thanks to it being a quick play spell, which can help it interrupt the opponent's plays in a real variety of different ways. You can, for example, flip down troublesome monsters that have lingering effects, cleanse monsters suffering from detrimental effects by flipping it face down and then back up, make flip effects live again, cause equip spells to drop off opponents' monsters, stop specific monsters from being used as link, synchro, or exceeds materials, since you can't use face-down monsters for those types of summons. It can also help you maybe dodge an imperm or effect failure, and of course the most simple thing it can do, it can just stop a devastating attack coming your way. With all that in mind, I was shocked to learn Book of Moon, a very prominent card in the early parts of the card game, a staple if you will, it never made an on-screen appearance in the original Duel Monsters series where it was a thing. The earliest it appeared was actually towards the end of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, where it was used against Jaden twice, once by Prince Ojin, and then again by the monster Titan. Oh, and Kite used it once in Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal as well.
Book of Moon! It switches one of your face-up monsters face down.
Now from Book of Moon, we get some new spin-off cards. The first is the reverse of Book of Moon, known in Japanese as Book of Sun. However, we know it as Book of Taiyu. Fittingly, its effect does the exact opposite to that of its counterpart, as it flips one face-down monster on the field face up. This card too made its debut alongside Book of Moon in Dark Beginning 2. So we have a card representing the moon and a card representing the sun. So in the game lore, you can think of it as the sun rises, the monsters wake up, whereas when it sets and the moon comes out, they go back to sleep and they go face down. However, what happens when these two cards overlap? Well, we get two new combined forms. The first is when the moon moves in front of the sun. Book of Eclipse, known in the Japanese as Book of Total Solar Eclipse. This card made its debut in the 2008 pack, The Duelist Genesis. Its effect is change all face-up monsters on the field to face-down defense. During the end phase of this turn, change as many face-down defense position monsters your opponent controls as possible to face-up defense position. Then your opponent draws cards equal to the number of monsters changed face-up by this effect. This card's name and artwork is a reference to a solar eclipse. This is when the moon blocks the sun in orbit. As such, this effect is essentially Book of Mooning the entire opponent's field, and then at the end phase, the sun begins to rise. The Book of the Sunning flips the entire field back face up. Basically, both of the effects are supercharged thanks to this. Following from this, we have another astrological event. This time, it's a lunar eclipse, which is when the Earth passes between the sun and the moon, blocking sunlight from reaching the moon. In this case, we have Book of Lunar Eclipse, known in the Japanese as Book of Total Lunar Eclipse. This card made its debut in the 2021 pack, Lightning Overdrive. Its effect is you discard one card, target two face-up monsters on the field, change them to face-down defense position. This effect is obviously just a supercharged version of Book of Moon. I don't know if there's any astrological reason why the moon's glow would be brighter after a lunar eclipse, but maybe. Now, something that you might not have noticed is that all of these cards are censored. It's only minor, however, they are all altered as the Ankh symbol on the cards has been swapped with a bird symbol. The Ankh symbol you might recognize from such cards as Monster Reborn. But what is this symbol? The Ankh represents the key of life. which in ancient Egypt is the religious symbol for eternal life. Konami doesn't really like religious connotations in their cards, so of course, they censored it. These 4 cards are the true Book of series of cards. They do with the moon, the sun, and they all do something to do with flipping up or flipping down monsters. However, they're not the only Book of cards that you could kind of class as being a part of the series. Even though they don't fit the bill entirely, they'll even have Book of in their name, their artwork will be very reminiscent. I'll just show you what I mean. The closest one in terms of name and design is Book of Life, known in the Japanese as Book of Life Forbidden Magic. Its effect is you can target 1 zombie monster in your graveyard and 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon the first target, then banish the second target. This card is actually based on a real thing called the Book of the Dead from ancient Egypt, which you might recognize from the film The Mummy.
I think this may be the Book of the Dead. It speaks of the night and of the day.
This book was used to help those on their journey to the afterlife. So by that logic, this translates to navigating monsters in the graveyard back to the living world, aka the field. And fun fact, this card also made its debut with Book of Moon and Book of Taiyu in the same pack, except this card was a higher rarity. Another card spiritually inspired by the Book of series is a card called Dark Grimoire, whose Japanese name is actually Books of Dark World. Not Book of, Books. There's only 1 book in this picture, but sure. During your end phase, if you discard a monster to the graveyard, because you had more cards than your hand size limit, you can target 1 of those monsters, special summon that target. To me, this card more closely resembles the Book of Life than it does the Book of Moon cards, to be honest with you, because it has something to do with bringing monsters back from the dead again. Going even further away, we get to more of the knockoff Book of cards. We have Ritual Sealing, who I know its name and effect and artwork seem completely unrelated. However, its Japanese name is actually Book of Ritual Advent Sealing. So I guess you could make a case for it being a Book of card, but I don't think so. Then again, in the same way the card Book of Secret Art's name fits the bill, and there is a book in the artwork of its card, it just feels so completely out of place. It just feels like it was an actual book of spell casting stuff. Nothing to do with the Book of card. It probably came before it as well. I'd like to note, by the way, that all of the books that I've shown today open from right to left. The reason for this is because in Japan, where these cards were created, that's how Japanese books and literature are read. They are read from right to left. And guess what? With that, that's the Book of series done. That's all we get. There's 4 official cards and a bunch of, yeah, I guess maybe they're a part of the archetype. Want to watch a video on the Spellbook archetype? It's kind of similar. Well, I have a video for that right here. Or if you'd rather watch this video, you can watch this video if you want, but it's completely up to you. Thank you for watching this very short video. I hope you all enjoyed. Catch you later. Bye, everyone.